This may be hard to believe. I actually started out eating vegan meals for budget purposes. Crazy, right? But let me explain. Chicken, beef, any meat you want to name out there. For me, it was becoming more and more pricey. I was already into, meatless Mondays when I would plan out my grocery purchases. I wasn't prepping anything. This was just me at the end of the work week, planning out what I'm going to have for the next week, jotting everything down so that way I knew what I was getting when I went to the grocery store. And as I'm penciling in meals and what's needed, it was easy to, just recollect the pricing it would be for this and that and understand what things were totaling up to. On Mondays, we happened to be saving dollars against, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the rest of the week. Keep in mind, I'm not buying these meat substitutes or egg substitutes at the time. I'm limiting my purchases to what's in the front of the grocery store and or what I could find in the canned or dry goods aisles. Therefore, coming up with meals like this sheet pan recipe, costing me only 68 cents a serving at 6 servings. My favorite thing about this recipe has to be the fact that I am not standing over the stove policing pancakes while getting anxiety because each one of my pancakes didn't look uniform or round. Since this recipe is baked on a sheet pan, you could use different sizes to make either thinner pancakes or even thicker ones. You saw me make this in a blender, which makes things just incredibly easy, but also because it is cheaper to get oatmeal and blend it up to make oat flour rather than to actually buy oat flour. The blending process can be tricky. You want to blend this until it's just combined. Any longer, you run the course of your pancakes being very elastic, like a rubber band, that you could possibly use to put over your wads of money after using all the tips from this video. Whatever you do, just don't eat it. Right? Or eat it if you want. It's just not gonna be very good. The pancake texture is very similar to banana pancakes, if you had that before. The addition of all-purpose flour is to help give the pancakes just a little bit more airiness, sort of like you would get from, your standard pancake. But if you wanted to go completely gluten-free, you could basically use all oat flour and or, substitute the all-purpose flour for almond flour. But remember to do that by weight, not by volume. I have all types of fun just tossing things on top of the pancake. If you decide to do frozen berries, do not adjust the cooking time. It's still gonna turn out great. You could use this batter to make traditional pancakes if you like. I mean, if you like wasting time or you're good at, say, making actual circles instead of ovals. No, I'm not jealous. My mom said you could trust the baker if their baking tray looks like this. I gotta say, I believe her now, but the first time I saw a tray like this at somebody's house, I was like, that person can't bake for shit. Do you prefer a sweet breakfast or savory breakfast? Or are you team no breakfast? I mean, the way inflation's going, I don't think you could blame anybody if they're team no breakfast. I am team savory or sweet breakfast at literally any o'clock. I don't really care where the sun's at in the sky. If you give me breakfast, it is going down. The breakfast, not the sun. Breakfast hash is one of those, I can be breakfast, I can be lunch, I could be blue, I could be brown, I could be violet sky. I only made half the recipe in this video, but the full recipe is just about $6 and it's a total of 6 servings, making it right under $1 per serving. So if you are not a fan of sweet potatoes, you can... I'm joking. Your video didn't pause at all. I just always wanted to do that. Comment below if I got you. If anything, I hope it made you smile. Sweet potatoes in this recipe can be swapped with any other potato, no changes necessary. Cooking potatoes this way can actually be a bit tricky, but the secret to getting a good crisp and char on the outside and have it soft in the inside is making sure they're completely dry before you add them into the skillet. Once you get them in there, make sure they're coated with oil and put them into a single layer and don't touch them for probably about 2 minutes. If you're looking to avoid oil, then a non-stick skillet is imperative here. In the recipe, I made my own taco seasoning with just a little bit more flavor in the chili and oregano area. If you want to speed things up, you could always use like a pre-made blend. It's gonna be really important to use a very large, high-walled skillet. I believe the one I'm using is about 12 inches, I think. But even using that, if I was making the full recipe, I would need to cook in batches. You know, I actually like to make quesadillas the next day with the leftovers using avocados, but the pricing on those the other day. Now, I don't normally talk to my vegetables, but I was like, why are you so pricey? I really hope you sit here and nobody buys you. What's your motivation? You know, I typically try to wordsmith something here to sound more inviting, but I don't know if it's going to be as impactful if not said like this. Stick to a budget or else. Pricing is going up everywhere and inflation finds everybody, even Waldo. I would say inflation is not your friend, but it has made my everyday drink, filtered tap water, taste so much better. Even with prices on the rise, this meal costs $3.83. With 4 servings, it totals out at 96 cents a serving. And eggs were one of the hardest things for me to give up as a vegan. It seems like they were basically in everything. Once I figured out how to make this recipe and chocolate chip cookies, I was able to kick eggs to the side. The turmeric in this recipe is used mostly to color the tofu to look like eggs. Also, turmeric has great health benefits. In the recipe, you do want to make sure you don't overdo it. Not with this spice. I chose to use a cast iron skillet this time around. I typically flex this cookware in and out throughout the week because cooking with cast iron helps with incorporating natural iron into the diet. I use plant-based butter in this recipe. You could certainly use, oil to do the same thing. I just like the nostalgia I get from cooking with it since that's how I had it, prior to being vegan. This is one of those recipes, if you want the flavors to be pronounced, you're gonna have to get a ton of water out of that tofu. Black salt, I also add at the end of the recipe since it's an ingredient that can lose its flavor when heated. If you haven't tasted or smelled black salt, it can be described as, well, let's just say you could definitely smell it before you taste it. You know that sulfur smell from eggs? Listen to me, like we're in chemistry class. You know how eggs could sometimes smell like gas? And I mean fart, not propane or something. But for some reason, we would still just eat it and put it in our mouth. What is wrong with us? Why did we do that? Anyhow, that is what black salt smells like. And I'm still putting it in my mouth. I really appreciate you watching. Watch this next video if you're looking for some more budget-friendly recipes. Till next time, believe in good. Peace.